Jerry Oconnell founded Big Blackfoot Riverkeeper and is currently the executive director. He first viewed the Blackfoot in 1986 while hitchhiking through Montana. It was love at first sight, and that moment planted the seed that eventually resulted in his moving from New England to the Blackfoot Valley in 1992. His love affair with the Big Blackfoot River continues today. Jerry has been involved in a variety of projects to protect the Big Blackfoot. He served on the River Recreation Advisory for Tomorrow Committee, which, in conjunction with Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, developed new recreation guidelines for the Blackfoot River. He is currently on the board of the Big Blackfoot chapter of Trout Unlimited, which has restored over 700 miles of Blackfoot tributaries. Additionally, Jerry Oconnell is currently president of the Missoula City County Consolidated Planning Board. Jerry lives in Greeno with his wife, Deborah, a couple of horses, and a rather large crew of dogs. Please welcome Jerry Oconnell.
Couple of points. He said I'm from New England. I want to point out, when Anita said her family got here in the early 1900s, my grandparents came to Montana in 1893. And 6 weeks later, they moved back to New Jersey. I was actually feeling pretty good to come up here until a few minutes ago when I heard Juanita talking about the river. I live 6 miles downriver from Juanita, and I've been drinking that river water for 25 years. And my stomach's a little upset right now. But anyway, my story involves no injuries, nothing scary. So you can just take a deep breath and relax. About 7 years ago, I got a phone call. My wife Deborah and I live up on the Blackfoot in Greeno. Like I said, not too far from Juanita. One afternoon I got a phone call, and it's some guy up in Sealy Lake, and he had just talked to somebody and mentioned that he wants to come down to the Blackfoot and fish this one particular area, but didn't know who he needed to get permission from. This person said, you're talking about the O'Connell's place. Call this guy. So she gives this guy my phone number. And so he calls and he says, would you mind if I came down and fished in your backyard? Because when I was a kid, my grandfather taught me to fish back there. I didn't have the courage to tell him that you don't need my permission. This is the Blackfoot River Recreation Card, or anybody can go in there and fish. But I was like, yeah, come on down. So an hour later, he knocks on the door and he comes out. And he's this nice young guy from California. And we're just chit-chatting. And I says, where's your grandfather from? And he says, well, he was up in Sealy Lake, but he died. I said, well, who was he? This is Noah Maclean. It's like, oh my God. I tell you what, you can fish in my backyard, but as long as you come up afterwards and have dinner, because I'm going to suck your brain for because I've been river runs through it fan since I read the book in the 1980s. So he does. He goes down there and he fishes for the day and comes back and we have dinner, and he's this wonderful guy. He's actually, we didn't find out until several years later, he's had his own successful career as a sound engineer out of Hollywood. He's done the sound for Men in Black 2, for all sorts of music people. He's got Grammys. He's a cool guy. In fact, today at the Maclean event, one of the things we showed, we tried to get Robert Redford here for the movie. Well, he's out of the country. So what he offered to do was to record the foreword of the latest version of the book, The River Runs Through It, that he wrote the foreword for. And so he recorded it wherever he was, in the Netherlands or Indonesia or something, and sent it over here. And in order to put it to sound, we had this guy, Noah, Norman's grandson, do the sound work on it, which was really kind of this sort of neat thing. Anyhow, we got to be pretty good friends, and every year he started coming back. And the second year he came back with his brother Jacob, who was around here somewhere too. And they'd go down to this spot and they'd fish, and then we'd have dinner and have cocktails, and off they go. Well, about 3 years into it, he comes, he fishes, he leaves, and about a week later, he calls me up and said, and this is a long shot, but I had a box of flies with me, and I was down on those rocks there fishing. Could you go down and check to see if they're still there? It's been a week or so, like no chance. So I check, and I go down, no flies, nothing. I call him back, and sorry, Noah, bad news. Okay, well, worth a try, thanks, bye, boom. Maybe a month goes by. My neighbor, Charlie, and I, particularly in the fall, one of the things we like to do is to take these we each have one of these little one-man cataract little rigs. We put in, he puts in at his house, floats down to my house, I meet him, and we spend, probably 2 or 3 hours of just very slow, leisurely fishing in the dusk hours, just a 2-mile float, but it's great, there's nobody else around, the fishing's excellent, it's quiet, it's peaceful, there's an eagle or two, and it's just, it's really kind of a Montana moment. So this about a month after Noah's been there, we're floating down. Before I go any further, let me first give you a little bit of Maclean genealogy so you can understand the names of the players of the story that's coming. You got Norman, you got John and Jean, son and daughter. Oh, don't forget, you got Tom Scarrett, he was their parent. Up here. And then underneath there, you've got grandkids, and Noah is one of them. So Noah is from Jean, Jean is from Norman, Norman is from Tom. So I'm floating with Charlie. He's not in that line, he's my neighbor, he's over here. We're floating down the river. Now Charlie's he's a brass hackle guy. He's throwing spinners. He's a spinning rod. And I'm fly fishing. And Charlie pulls off to the side, goes up on the bank, and he starts fishing around some rocks and everything. And I float past, and we just kind of zig and zag. And after a couple hours, we get to the takeout, and I got my pickup there. And I flip down the tailgate, and we're loading our boats up. And he pulls it out, and he throws his fly box on the tailgate. And he said, "You want that?" I found that sitting on a rock in the water, perched on the top of a rock, like 10 feet offshore. And I look at it, and it's got 3 initials on the side of it, SSN. And I'm thinking, SSN, that's what submariners, that's a symbol for a nuclear submarine. All the subs are SSN. And I'm thinking, it must have been a submariners and fly fishing around here or something. I got his fly box. Okay, that's cool. So we get home, and I take the fly box and I toss it on the counter. Now it's tossed upside down. Well, SSN, if you turn it over, it's NSS, Noah S. Snyder. That's the name of, what are the odds of this? This is crazy. I could not be. Anyway, I call Noah. And I say, "No, I might have found your fly box." It's a little plastic fly box. He says, "Open it up. Is it got 9 little compartments?" "Yeah." He says, "What's in the middle compartment?" "What?" "There's a pair of turquoise and stainless or sterling silver earrings." He goes, "Oh my God, that's my box. Thank God." He says, my wife gave my mom those as a gift like 15 years ago. And I took my mom's fly box when I went off. Or I forget exactly. Those were her earrings. And he was going to be in deep caca if he didn't get. So he was really happy. I mailed him the box, and life went on. Then 2 years ago, we had our first Maclean weekend, like we just are wrapping up here today. And it was all up in Sea Lake at the time. Well, I invited Noah as part of the program because Noah, he's one of the Maclean family, and he's a very, very enjoyable guy and a good speaker, and has great stories about Norman that are just legend. So we invited him there. And I'm introducing him to a crowd like this up in the Double Arrow Lodge. So I'm up there, and to get him in here, I retold this story to the audience, and I'm getting ready to, and I'm about to say, and I'd like to now introduce you, and the lady's sitting out in the field, in the crowd, and she's, and I said, yeah, and she stands up, she goes, I'm Noah's mom, and these are the earrings. It was like, perfect. And that's my story.